All right, we'll start today with Coach Mack. Raise your hand and we'll get a mic. Start with Noah.
Coach Hall said the other day that Jalen Wright kind of put an emphasis on his vision and how that's improved. Just kind of what have you seen out of him in that aspect?
Well, a lot of good things. First of all, Jalen Wright has grown tremendously as an inside the tackle runner. When he first got here, he was a guy that really wanted to bounce runs. A lot of that is probably what they asked him to do in high school. So what you see now is a guy that's a lot more attentive about, going through the whole pressing the double team, things like that. Just like all those different things running through the smoke. That's what we talked to a lot of Jay Wright the last couple of years. And like you just seen the growth in his game a ton.
Patrick, then Ben.
When you talk about Cam Sell back in the spring, you kind of talk about him having to start on this from the ground up. Back really in a long time. What kind of growth do you see from him over the summer?
No question. Every practice he gets a little bit better. Not having a baseline like I talked about in the spring, working with them over the summertime, working with them all through camp, being able to get quality reps. I talk about in the staff meeting a lot of times. Cam is a guy that needs to play in front of the big five linemen as much as humanly possible. That means every opportunity he gets to, have those guys out in front of him and understanding leverage and understanding pad level, like that's going to be huge for him. And the only way he's going to continue to grow is really just continue to play football. He's really good out in space on the perimeter. I think he has some comfort zone there. But like at the end of the day, big, strong, physical guy. Like if he keeps developing, as a runner, he's got a chance to be a really good player.
Jerry, with Jabari, how have you seen him improve this offseason? And for a veteran like that, is it about perfecting his craft, or is he working on different things over the offseason? How do you go approach that?
Yeah, I think the first thing was Jabari understanding some of his deficiencies, and that's, the health piece. He got that addressed in the offseason. The next part is, all these guys, have aspirations to go on to the National Football League. And he's approached on the field and off the field. He's really approached everything like a pro. I've seen a tremendous growth in the meeting rooms, not only just what his assignment is and what he wants to do, but Jabari is also very good at understanding the blocking schemes, understanding what the offensive lineman jobs is, what the receiver's job is, like all those different things. He's really grown in the offense. Going into year 3, I think he's been in it now. So like understanding like his job and his responsibility is pretty easy. Now he's trying to be a pro and an expert and understand the whole how everything fits together.
Reese, then Rob.
Jeremy back here. For a running back like Deshaun Bishop that's young, how much does an injury like this affect him, his development when he doesn't get the reps in practice?
Well, obviously, you need reps to actually get better, and that's we're a little heartbroken about that because man, that guy was really doing a good job for us. He was coming along. We had really high hopes for him. In the first part of the season. Hopefully, he maybe get an opportunity to come back this season at some point in time. But I do think you should treat it like a redshirt year. It's a chance for him to get in the meeting room. It's a chance for him to continue to grow just his baseline as far as in our system and what we want. And I have no I have no reserve about saying like he's going to come back in the spring and be probably a different player, just for the simple fact he's going to understand all the ins and outs, things that he did not understand quite as well, really during the previous spring.
Coach, you got 3 guys, obviously, who've got to go in the SEC. You got 2 talented freshmen mix. Do you have a feel yet for how many guys you can realistically play?
Well, the running back position, just through attrition, sometimes guys get bumps and bruises. Obviously, we all feel like those guys are 3 down back, so we feel like they can play, every down. We don't have to rotate guys in for short yardage and pass pro and things like that. All of them have grown. Right now, it's really tough to say. How we've played here in the past. We rotated, usually had a 2-headed monster, and Dylan Sampson was able to get in the rotation last year and really have some great success. So it really just depends on the flow of the game. One thing about running backs, if a guy has a hot hand, you want to keep him in. So that's no different than what we're trying to do. If a guy is really in a rhythm, I'll be crazy to take that guy out. I got to continue to get the most out of him while he's in a rhythm. But I do foresee, we're going to need all those guys as the season progresses.
Adam, then Austin.
Was it your intention to make sure that Jalen and Jabari were interchangeable, that pass play, run play, both those guys could do the same thing? And are they more interchangeable now than they were 2 years ago?
They definitely are. First of all, they're definitely more interchangeable than a year ago. Jalen has really grown as a pass protector. He's grown with his hands. He can catch the ball out the backfield now. Jabari's grown as a pass protector, so I don't feel like he has a lot of deficiencies from that aspect. The goal is always to recruit, to always have three down backs in your room, guys you feel like are athletic enough to catch the ball at the backfield, but at the same time, there's a short yardage situation and those pass pro situations where you know you're going to get some of those exotics and things like that, that those guys are still stout enough, big enough, and strong enough to really hold up and not get blown back into the quarterback. And I think over the years, that's what you've seen. Like both of those guys' games, are both of them are playing at a really high level right now.
You talk about the growth for Jalen. Was there a moment in time where you felt like the light bulb really came on? Because I know you played a ton of football in high school, and senior year canceled and stuff due to COVID. And is it as simple as, just had a whole lot of football? And two, talk about Jabari understanding the health piece. Are you handling him kind of like they handle Jacob at tight end, like, let's get into the season, let's not, overwork him and, put him in a spot where he can get, have some kind of big things up and then.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Jalen, just his growth, like I said before, in high school, he just wasn't an all around runner. He wasn't an every down back. And that's what you've seen him really be intentional about trying to work those things those deficiencies that he need to work on. He's going to be one of the poster boards in our program, I think, for a guy that came in extremely raw on and off the field. And now what you've seen him do is grow into a complete player on and off the field. As far as Jabari goes, Jabari is a guy that he had no reps really in the spring at all. He hadn't played football before this camp since probably December, the bowl game. So a little bit different than Jacob Warren's situation. Jabari needed to get hit. You saw last year what happened to Jalen Wright when he didn't practice all the camp, and he had those fumbling issues early in the season. So we learn from our mistakes as coaches. So make sure that now Jabari is going to get in there. He's taking some inside drill, which normally he doesn't take. He needs to get that thump, feel those pad on pad, and be able to finish plays. So and he has wanted that. Like he saw what happened to Jalen last year, and he didn't want that to happen to him this year. So he has embraced the contact more than anything else.
Ryan and Ben. What been your early impressions of Keith and sort of where is he in his development?
Man, big, strong, powerful guy. He is everything that, when we recruited him, we thought he could be. He came in about 225, between 225 and 230. He's continued to keep, maintain about that body weight, and he can move with it. He plays with it. One thing about him, he does have really good hands. He was a former basketball player in high school too, really athletic. His deal is really just learning our system and how we go about doing things here at Tennessee. I think as a player, you're going to see that guy involved in a lot of special teams. I feel like this year, Coach Eck is extremely excited about his role on what it can be as a runner. He is a lot further along than I really even anticipated as a runner right now. Running between the tackles, that guy right there. People don't want to come up and tackle him too much. He just got to continue to learn to get himself into shape, play his way into shape more than anything else, and he's gonna contribute. I feel like this year for us in some kind of capacity.
Jerry, I wanted to ask you about Jalen's ball security and just in hindsight, do y'all chalk those fumbles up to him just not going through Paul Hill last year, and as he got further away from that, how has his ball security been?
Well, he really locked in probably about mid-season last year, and I think after he probably locked in, maybe after the LSU game, I don't think he had any more issues from a ball security issue as far as like at least the ball coming out. I do think a lot of that was not being able to get hit at all during the month of August and not understanding that impact and where those bodies were going to come from all the time. Taking some of those things for granted a little bit, squeezing the ball, make sure it's secure. So I think a lot of that was those issues. I have not seen, honestly, I haven't seen them fumble, not even in practice, to be honest with you, at all since that probably mid-season of last year.
Adam, and then Wes.
You've obviously had a two-man rotation, at least in the regular rotation, Jalen and Jabari. For Dylan Sampson to get in that and make it a three-man rotation, what about his skill set to get him into that, and what deficiencies does he have that can maybe keep him out?
Well, that's going to get him into it is like Dylan can do everything for us. Like Dylan can go out and flex out in the slot. He can play in the backfield, obviously. From a pass pro, that's probably one of the things that just got to make sure that Dylan is spot on with what he's supposed to do. And those smaller guys, Sam has increased his weight. He's about 195 pounds now. Still probably a little bit lighter than we would like, but it is increasing and it is going up. But the biggest thing for him is going to be in pass pro. He's got to be able to eat up the cushion. Don't let those 230, 240 pound linebackers get started. stop those guys before they can get their feet moving and drive and close that cushion and then go ahead and strike because he's not afraid of contact. Sam could play defense. He could play corner if he really wanted to. I mean, he will stick his face in there and he's not afraid of it.
You're obviously a player would rather not be hurt. The fact that Jabari's hadn't played for the past couple of years, it seems like when his teammates speak about him, they speak really highly of sort of his commitment to things and how to play through stuff. How much can you speak to just the respect level that he seems to have among his teammates?
Well, he's a quiet leader. He's not a rah-rah guy. Jabari's not going to be the loudest all the time. He just kind of leads by example. He's the first one in the meetings. He brings a pad. He's taking notes. And guys respect those guys that are pros. They look at those guys. They see those guys. Everybody thinks you got to be the guy that's always loud and always rallying the troops. And that's just not Jabari's demeanor. That's not his personality. But I have seen him, continue to come out his comfort zone and continue to grow as a leader here since we've been in Tennessee. And I think that's a compliment to him. He's got great parents, got great stock. So, he knows what he has to do to take that next step. And, the teammates see it. His teammates understand that, like, this guy right here, that's who I would like to be like from a standpoint of just the way he goes about carrying his business.
Thank you, Coach.